everyone, I'm Gilly, founder of Gilly's Organics and the host of Rock Stars of Bergen for Be Local Bergen magazine. I'm outside, socially distanced, with episode number 8. She is a lawyer, she is an author, she's a mom, she's a friend, and actually she is also a frozen by marriage. She's the author of the Freeda The Frog series, and I'd love to welcome you to meet Nadine Haruni. Hi, Nadine.
Hi, Gilly. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's amazing.
Exciting.
I wanted to have you during Pride Month, but we only have once a month guests, and the magazine also wanted you during Pride Month, but Pride isn't just a month.
Correct.
It's a movement.
Right.
Just like Black Lives Matter, so just like all the movements. So let's talk about, should we talk about your latest book first, or should we let's talk about the series and how
Sure.
Freda came to be.
So Freda came to be, was named after my mom, the original Freda.
Awesome.
I tease her that she spells it the wrong way. She spells it F-R-I-E-D-A. My Freda is F-R-E-E-D-A. I spelled it that way because it's also synonymous with people or kids feeling free to express themselves and be who they are and express their feelings.
I love it.
So it came to be because as I've gone through all of the things that have happened to Freda and her family in the books, and the very first book, Freeda The Frog Gets a Divorce, I actually got that book published when I myself was going through a divorce and I had young kids, and I didn't know how to discuss or open up a conversation with them about divorce, which is very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I looked around and there were some books out there, but in my opinion they were a little scary or just not very inviting. So I felt I needed to get a book out there.
Sorry everyone, it's a little loud.
And then the rest of the books kind of followed suit as I went through certain situations with my own kids.
Right.
And I felt that there was a lacking in the market of books that in a sort of, I hate to say upbeat, but friendly kind of way.
Sure.
Discuss these kind of awkward conversations with
Yeah, I
kids.
feel like Freda's very likable. She's a very,
She tries.
she's relatable. So what other books? The first one is Freda Gets a Divorce,
So I
right?
just happen to have them here.
Okay.
So the first book is Freeda The Frog Gets a Divorce. The second book is Freeda The Frog and Her New Blue Family, where she meets a blue frog, and it's talking about basically diversity, not to judge a frog or a person by the outside of what they look like,
I love that.
and just everybody's equal.
Yes.
And that's, I met my own blue frog, which is my husband, who's a different ethnicity, so that's how that one came to be.
That's really special.
Thanks. And then the third one, which is Freeda The Frog is on the Move. That one is about moving, changing schools, or any kind of major life change, like even now, like with COVID, just anything which kids
So
have trouble
important.
with.
Yes.
And it's teaching kids change doesn't have to be so scary after all.
Right.
And this came to be when me and my kids moved from the city to Jersey. And they
Amazing.
hated it at first, but now they love it.
Right.
And then we have Freeda The Frog Says Farewell to the Fish, which is about losing, well, they lost their pet fish Goldie, but it's just about losing somebody you love. And I wrote this one after my grandma Helen passed away, and my kids were close with her, and death is a very uncomfortable subject.
I wish I had that book. Back when my kids were little and my mom passed, because that's such a good way to make it feel safe and understandable, and that you're not alone.
Right, and it's encouraging kids to talk, to express their feelings, to talk to their parents, their teachers, their friends, and just reminding kids to just remember the good times you had with that person or that pet.
So good.
And then
Okay,
a new
so
one.
this latest book, I feel, is going to really extra make a name for you. I don't know.
That works.
I think it's, it's a drop maybe for some, not controversial, but hasn't been spoken about enough for children. And yet, here we are in 2020
Right.
with lots of people that we're friends with and we know in our town, same-sex parents, and you wrote about it, Freeda the Frog
Right.
and the Two Mamas Next Door. So
here it
explain
is.
how this one, since all those had something to do with things you've experienced, what made you, other than being an ally, what made you decide to write this book?
Good question. So I felt I wanted to write books about things, either different types of family situations or different real life stuff that kids go through, to make it just very easy to talk about and for parents to open up the door to a conversation.
Yes.
With this book, I wrote the book because I found it very jarring when I moved from the city and had I'm being sarcastic when I say a billion gay friends, but
right.
a lot of gay friends in the city with kids, and I moved to the suburbs, and my son had 2 guy friends, 2 dads, and that was the only gay couple I knew in my town, and I just found it, I was thinking, it must be really hard for these kids. They have no other friends with gay parents, and
sure.
So I just felt that a lot of kids in smaller communities or suburbs are a little sheltered, that families don't always look the same, and that parents don't always look the same.
Yes.
So I really felt it was important to get out there. Coincidentally, as I was writing this book, my oldest daughter, my husband and I were a blended family. We have 5 kids. My oldest daughter ended up coming out to us. She was in a relationship with a woman. So it's just kind of funny, because I said this book had nothing to do with my life,
and it does.
Important, but it does.
Well, I think she probably already knew and felt safe with you, but this makes it that much more safe. And also, I think it's really important for kids to understand. I loved this book, and I love how you did it, and I felt like it went just deep enough to explain the 2 moms and talk about acceptance and that we're all kind of the same, with different parents, no matter whether they're same sex or not. And the people that I know that are in same-sex marriages or partnerships love this book.
Yay.
Did you do research?
I did, actually. So this was the first book because, as I said, when I started writing it had nothing to do with my family. So I try to, if it's a topic, if I'm going to be writing about a topic that I can't personally relate to, because I'm not writing these books as a psychologist, I'm writing it just as a mom who's been through these situations and didn't know how to talk to my own kids. So for this situation, I interviewed about a dozen or so gay friends, some of whom, and in the beginning of the book, I have thoughts from our LGBTQ plus community.
Yes.
And they each wrote a little blurb. I read them the book. I went over things with the book. I actually even made some changes upon their suggestions after I read them the book. And some of them spoke to me from the perspective of an adult parent who's in a gay relationship with kids, and some of them from the perspective of, they didn't have kids, but as a gay child, they didn't have books like this out there, and they felt it would really help them. So for example, I even changed some of the language in the books after speaking to some of my gay friends. They wanted me to I say in the book, isn't it, the tadpoles are talking about the fact that one of the tadpoles, Jessica, has 2 moms.
Right.
And they say, isn't that strange? Isn't that weird?
Yes.
Because they said that's the way kids talk, who just don't
know any better. Yes, don't understand it.
So, I mean, I felt that this book, and the other books in the series, but this book in particular is designed to really teach kids tolerance, inclusivity, and just being comfortable in a world that you may not be personally familiar with.
I love that.
So it's meant to make kids who are in these particular families or situations feel more accepted, but also to make them have more understanding and empathy for other families.
So beautiful, Nadine. Where can we buy the Freda books? And this book is out now?
Yes, so this book, Freeda The Frog and the 2 Mamas Next Door, and all of our books are on fredathefrog.com,
Okay, we'll be posting
that.
Where can everyone follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's at Freeda The Frog, just Freeda the Frog.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And when we talk about Bergen County a lot on the show, what's your favorite Bergen County? I know we're not hanging out anywhere these days except our backyard 6 feet apart, but what are your favorite places in Bergen? Maybe as a mom, that you took your kids when they were little tadpoles.
I love Tenafly Nature Center. I think that's great.
Spot.
I love Davis Johnson Park. My husband and I got married there, actually.
I love that. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And I would say, and I think you can relate to the sentiment, that one of my favorite places, not as a parent, but just as a person, is Fire Shaper.
I knew you were going to say that. Hail to the Fire Shaper.
And we miss it.
We miss it too. Amazing. And then anything on the horizon for Freda or you that we should know about?
Yes. So, I mean, I plan to write about 12 books in the series, on average about one book a year.
Amazing.
Trying to cover some major other topics, such as disabilities,
Oh, so important.
and major illnesses, adoption, a parent going back to work, and what it's like to have a new baby sibling. So those are some of the things coming down the horizon.
Awesome. They're all such important topics. I can't wait to read them.
Just real life stuff.
Yeah, real life stuff. From a mom's perspective, which I think, you know, not that it's better than a psychologist, but it's coming from it's better. It's what you relate to and how you want your kids to move forward from situations. And then one last question for you, beautiful Nadine. If you had a quote to live by or a mantra when you're feeling overwhelmed, and I love your work and that you pour it into your writing, and like a mantra or a quote that you live by that helps you get through your day.
Well, I think what I'd say number one is not letting the past define you, and if you have a bad day, you have a bad day, and kind of move on. Everybody has bad days, everybody has bad moments.
Yes.
And while I think it's sometimes hard to sort of see the forest through the trees, I think just kind of I'm using all these cliches,
Yeah.
keep your eye on the prize.
Take the long view. Yes.
No, but focus
So
on
important.
what's important to you, your family, your goals. Just really go for it, and don't let minor setbacks really hold you back, and just keep going forward. I mean,
You see, she's a total rock star with that mindset.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show
Thank you
today.
for
You're
having
amazing.
me.
I can't wait to see all the books that keep coming and all the success that you keep getting.
Thank you. Air hug.
Air hug. Elbow.
Elbow.